Hi, my name is Olivia Jones, and I will be working with my student Jeff Spicoli today, who is a first grader at Ridgemont Elementary. He has multiple disabilities, including using a wheelchair to get around. He wears glasses that partially corrects his low vision, and at the moment he uses pictures and symbols to communicate. So we're working on that. But another issue is he scratches his arms very intensely when he gets frustrated, sometimes causing them to bleed, which isn't good. So we're trying to work on that self-harm behavior. He is very friendly and happy. He loves animals and he listens very well when he's not overly frustrated. Sometimes it takes a little bit where we have to calm him down and then he's able to listen and follow directions, but overall he's always smiling. He's always ready to learn, so he's a very nice and kind boy. I'm a huge advocate for keeping him in the inclusive classroom. I like giving him opportunities to work with his non-disabled peers and be able to learn and model after them. I like him to be in the inclusive classroom for most of his day because as of now, his education is not affected in a negative way because of it. Once that starts to happen, we might have to make some changes, but as of now, he's doing fine in an inclusive classroom. And like I said before, I like giving him time to work with non-disabled peers and not just being in a room with kids that are more like have disabilities similar to his. Another way I like to help him is by mentoring him with building friendships and relationships with his peers. I like to give him tips on how to ask students or friends to play, how to ask, do you want to work on a project or play a game together? So just giving him tips and tricks on how to, communicate properly with other peers and kids his age. What I'll show today too and how to demonstrate is how I am trying to calm him down as to not revert to his scratching his arms, because obviously we don't want him to continue this self-harming behavior. So one of the ways is introducing different stress balls and fidget toys to help him relax and kind of get his mind off of the task that's frustrating him and focus on just calming down and then being able to communicate what it is that is frustrating him so that we can help. So how I do this is if I see that Jeff is starting to get frustrated, I'll walk over and say hey, how you're doing? Do you need a stress ball to use? Do you need a squeeze? And he'll pick which one is his favorite. Some days it changes, and I like to, if he has one that he picks constantly, I like to keep that one in mind and maybe give that one to him first. That I can say, all right, now squeeze, and every time you squeeze the ball, breathe in and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out, breathe in and out. And usually I like to use the number 10, do this 10 times. And then once I see him start to calm down and not be as frustrated, and I'll say all right, now can you explain to me what's here frustrating you? Can I help you? And then usually, kind of calm it down where he's able to communicate what's going on. Even then after, I'll let him keep the ball. That way he can keep squeezing and keep using that as a way to distract him from going right to his arms. So we're trying to avoid that. As far as instructional technologies in the classroom, we use a smartboard that helps project what is on my computer onto the big screen that for his low vision helps him be able to see, and also creates an opportunity for him to work with his non-disabled peers with games that are on the board or different activities or projects. Since all the kids like to use a smartboard, it also helps him with his fine motor skills with holding the bigger markers to write and do what he needs to do on the board. Also, we use an Elmo projector where you can stick a piece of paper or a book underneath the camera and it'll show that onto the big screen. This is very nice for when it comes to read alouds, because sometimes depending on where he's sitting or what kind of book it is, he might have trouble looking at the photos and being able to also see the text, because we want him to make that connection of words that I'm saying to the words that are on the page. So being able to put that underneath and show it on a bigger screen where he is able to focus directly on the illustrations and the words, that's a huge help. And also too, if we're working on the same sheet of paper, I can demonstrate and model on the paper, and then he's able to see that on a bigger screen and copy what I'm doing. Lastly, what I'm going to show for another instructional technology is an iPad, where it can be made personal to him, especially if schools are able to do the one-to-one with iPads to students, where it can completely become his, and we can download apps that help with his social skills, his emotional behaviors, like different calming apps that can be used to help when he is very frustrated. And then this is also something that doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't call him out at all, because all students like to use the iPad. So even if you only have maybe 5 per class, it's not like it's just him using it. It's all the students get a chance, and they each can work on their own individual skills and kind of use it the same way he's using it. So, if he's frustrated or just, needs to work on something, I'll present the iPad and say like, okay, like now click on this app here. Which another great tip is it helps with his fine motor and pointing to different apps, or if the apps have different games, like him being able to get used to just using one finger to point and maneuver through the different apps in the iPad. And so I'll say like, here, let's you need to calm down. Let's use this calm app. Click that. And then, okay, let's breathe together. Let's do some stretches and relax. So that's kind of how I would use that, talk very calmly with him so that he's calm. He becomes calm because you're calm. You don't want to raise your voice, make him, even more nervous. So that's kind of how I would say, just, hey, like, let's do this together. If he wants to work by himself, give him, say, hey, what, pick the apps that, you use this app, pick whatever game you want to play, and kind of give him a chance to either work on skills if that's what you're working on, or if he needs to calm down, give him a chance to work through and kind of work to calm himself down, so that, after a couple of minutes, he's ready to get back to the task and finish out what we've been working on. So yeah, so that is my student Jeff.